Hey guys, welcome to the arcade and thank you very much for joining me. We have a few things that I'd like to talk about tonight because things seem to be, they seem to come in sort of large groups. We go for weeks without having anything to sort of talk about, and then we have weeks where there's absolutely loads, and it seems like this is one of those weeks where there's a bunch of stuff that we could talk about, and I've got a few things on my list. Hopefully, I'll be able to remember them. We can rattle through some stuff that's upcoming very soon. The first thing I kind of wanted to talk about is Evercade. For anyone who's not aware of the Evercade products, they are handheld and consoles developed around cartridges that will run fully licensed retro games. So you have a load of different things. So you've got Atari, you've got Irem, there's Data East, and then they started doing ones around old systems, the Commodore 64. There's the Delphi one that is coming out in a few days actually, which I have on pre-order, which I'm really looking forward to because that includes one of my favorite Mega Drive games, which was Flashback. I don't know how many times I've bought that game, but once again buying it again just to keep playing it. It's a fantastic game, and I really love it. One of the things that Everkid is producing at the moment, though, is a bunch of indie games which are looking fantastic. They're also going back to other games and remastering them, I guess, is a good way of putting them. One of the ones that I'm really interested in is Duke Nukem. So they're going to be doing a Duke Nukem 3D cartridge, which will include the remastered versions of Duke Nukem 1 and 2. So, if you're not old enough to remember the original Duke Nukem, here they are. They were side-scrolling games. A platform run and gun, if you will. It had a bit of an edgy kind of attitude to it, I suppose you could say. But the game is very simplistic. It is sort of run-gun platform. I never actually had either of the two original games. This is going way back to the time of shareware. I think you got the first couple of levels in a shareware game. That's how things worked back then. You didn't really have a demo. You got the first couple of levels and then you had to pay for the rest of the game. That's how things kind of worked way back then. And yes, Duke Nukem was one of those games. I had the first couple of levels on shareware and I played them, and they were great fun, but I never owned the original game. Now, with the Duke Nukem 3D cartridge coming out for Evercade, we will be getting a remastered version of Duke Nukem 1 and 2, so that you can sort of see what the graphics could look like. There's a big disclaimer at the bottom there, gameplay not final. So that's what the game could look like when it comes out on Evercade. What I find quite interesting about this is that it's not been a port from the PC, from the DOS kind of runner over to Evercade. This has been a complete remaster along with some of the guys who worked on it. The game is actually running natively on Evercade's hardware. That means it's not emulation. It's actually everything is on the cartridge and running through the Evercade hardware, which is fantastic because I think it's going to make it run a lot smoother. And they've done the old wee trick where if you remaster a game, you have to have a button press that will bring you back to the old style graphics, which it's always a great wee thing to include. People who really do love the game, they'll be able to switch back to the old graphics and sort of enjoy it the way they remember it. Or maybe it's one of those things where you'll switch back for 5 minutes and go, oh, this is what it actually looked like. I remember it looking a lot better. Switch it back to the modern graphics and never touch it again, which I'm pretty sure is going to happen. That's exactly what I did with the re-release of Command and Conquer. I switched it back to have a look at the graphics for like 5 minutes, found it unplayable, and switched it back to the modern looking graphics, and never turned it back again. It does look really cool. We're going to have the sort of original music. It's going to also include a few new tracks, but they're all going to be kind of based around how Duke Nukem was back in the day. So it's going to sound like a song that would have been included in Duke Nukem back then, but you know, never was. So these are out for pre-order at the moment. The date of it escapes me at the moment because it keeps getting pushed. 1 second and I will look it up just to be 100% sure for you, because I don't want to give you kind of the wrong information, because that would really bloody suck. So I should have had this all ready for you, because I do have it pre-ordered, like I said. It's just going to... There we are. So both of the Duke Nukem collections will be released on November 20th. So the end of November is where we're looking for the Duke Nukem collection. Like I say, there's 2 of them. The first one will have Duke Nukem 3D and Duke Nukem 1 and 2, the 2 platformers that you're currently seeing. And then the second one is going to have the console-specific games. So Land of the Babes, Duke Nukem Advanced, and... Oh, why do I want to say Hail to the King? I don't think that's right. The other one is called... Come on. Why am I finding it difficult to find it now? The second one is Time to Kill. The third game is Time to Kill. So yes, those are the games that will be coming out in November 28th. It has been pushed a couple of times, and the sort of the reveal trailers have also been pushed back. But I think it's looking well, like it says on the video there. It's not the final. It's not the final version of the gameplay, but I guess it's going to look very, very similar to that once it comes out. There's probably be a few tweaks and polishes made to it, but I'm very hopeful that we get to play this fairly soon. It's going to be really, really enjoyable. I love the Evercade's ecosystem. I do like the handheld and the cartridges. I'm not sure how much I would like the console. I didn't really like the idea of being tied to a console for those kind of retro games. I wanted the handheld. And speaking of handheld, the Hyper Megatech Super Pocket is coming out fairly soon. Now, for anyone not aware of what the hell this is, Hyper Megatech is a sister company to Evercade, set up again by Blaze, and it's another handheld retro gaming system. There's 2 editions. There is the Taito one that you can see on screen at the moment, and then there is the Capcom one. So they all have, both of them have games built into it. The Capcom one has 12 games and Taito has 17 games built into it. Both are 50 quid. They're available for pre-order now and will come out in around the 16th of November, so we're talking mid-November. Now, they do look fairly cool. It does have quite a small screen, so 2.8 inch, which is around the same size as like a Game Boy screen. There's a load of different inputs on it. One D-pad. You've got your basic A, B, X, Y buttons on the front, and then there's trigger and bumper buttons around the back. So a nice little control scheme. 4 hours of battery life. Here is the weird thing that I've kind of still can't get my head wrapped around, that it's meant to be, excuse me, Sorry, I was sitting on my leg and I was getting really uncomfortable there. I really need to move. Apologies for that. Yeah, it's compatible with the Evercade cartridges, which is really confusing because Hyper Megatech, when they launched it, they said they wanted it to be a sister company because it was going to launch and deal with products that differed from the Evercade roadmap, things that Evercade couldn't do. This is what Hyper Megatech were going to do. I'm sorry, but I still think that this Super Pocket is just a Pocket Evercade. It's going to do pretty much the exact same thing. Now, I do expect that it's going to have a different internal menu system. It's probably not going to have the game of the month. That's at the moment they've made no announcement on that. That's pretty much an exclusive to the VS and to the EXP. I don't believe there's been any talk of this thing being, Wi-Fi enabled or anything like that. So I other than that, it's pretty much an Evercade. Like, I do love the games that are coming with it, especially the title one, which is why I went for this one. So Space Invaders, obviously you're gonna have that onto a title machine. Bubble Bobble, fantastic. Operation Wolf is going to be strange because it's going to be controlling the cursor with the D-pad, so I don't know how enjoyable that's going to be with a D-pad. I'm not sure at all. New Zealand Story, a fantastic little platformer. You've got the first Rastan game, another great one. Kadash, I've never actually played, so that's going to be a load of fun to try another sort of side-scrolling game. Chack and Pop, quite difficult actually. I do like it. It'll be fun to have that on the go. Don Dukodon, I've never played, but looks like it's going to be a fun one. You've got Elevator Action, which is just a great game. Football Champ, I might play it once and just to see how it goes. We've got Growl, we've got Kiki Kakai, Legend of Kage, Liquid Kids, Space Invaders 91, Voltified, and the Fairyland Story. So you've got a number of really good title games on there. And if we're saying it's also going to be able to take the Evercade cartridges, job's a good one, because the price that it's asking for, 50 quid, that's not too shabby at all. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this. I do really want to put it through its paces. I want to see where the differences are. Obviously on the Evercade you've got more of an extended screen for certain games, and is it going to be compatible? Is it going to squish it or stretch it, or however you want to look at it? Certainly the I think games like 1942, where it really does well in the Tate mode on the EXP, it would just not play well on this. I don't know how it's going to be able to handle games like that, but it does say that it is compatible with Evercade cartridges. Now, it doesn't specify whether it's going to be all Evercade cartridges or if it's going to be every game on the Evercade cartridge. So it's interesting to be able to see that. I do intend to go through the games that I have, the ones that I have on pre-order, like I say, on Flashback and things like that, just to see if this little Super Pocket is going to be able to handle it. It's an interesting little product, and I think they've got the price point pretty well nailed. I think 50 quid is a great little thing, and like we say, these cartridges are all licensed, so the games that you're getting, there's no harm in grabbing them. You can get them fairly cheap. That is one thing, I did put it up on the the Discord earlier the week for people in there. Evercade did make an announcement to say that their licensing agreement with Atari is coming to an end this December. So what that means is that the current Atari collections that they've got out there, I think there's the arcade, there's the Lynx 1 and 2, actually there might be 2 arcade Atari collections as well. Those cartridges will become legacy products, meaning that they will no longer be produced. So if you can get them from a retailer, you can still purchase them, but no new items under that license will be produced by Blaze. Once they're gone, they're gone. Is pretty much it. So if you are looking for Atari ones, it might now be a good chance. But most of the other cartridges you can pick up fairly cheap. They do sales quite often, which is great to see. And yeah, I'm very interested in trying out this pocket edition and giving it a good going over, I think. Now, I did speak there on sort of price reductions and things like that and sales, so that kind of leads us nicely on to what's happening over with Game at the moment. So there's a couple of things to mention on Game with regards to home arcade. The first of which is that they have started to drop their prices over a lot of their home arcade products. If we take a little look here, you can see now the ones on pre-order and things like that, they haven't moved. The same goes for Time Crisis. Sorry, I drew a blank there. Yeah, the same goes for Time Crisis. They haven't moved in price. But we can have a little look around. There is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for 400. Yoga Flames down to 400, 350 for the Golden Tee XL, which I think is fairly good now. Obviously you would need to switch out that monitor for something decent, but excuse me, but I think 350 is pretty damn good for that XL cabinet. Now, what I would say looking around this, these aren't mentioned as sales. So what looks to be happening is they're reducing the price to this is me spitballing. I think they're adjusting the price because of new products, new stock coming in. What you don't want to see is them trying to bring in the new deluxe legacy cabinets, trying to sell, the new Atari one for the same price as the old Atari, or the new Pac-Man for the same price as the older Pac-Man. The older ones should drop down in price as the new ones come in, and that's what I think is happening here. Now we do have some ones that are still a bit ridiculous in price. You've got 500 quid for the pinball tables, which is absolutely ludicrous when you can get the same one over in Smith's for, what was it, $299. So I think they're chancing their arm on that one. Dragon's Lair still $350. It's a fantastic cabinet. Yes, it does have a few audio issues with it, but it's a really good game, or set of games on. For $350, it's definitely worth a punt if you're looking for, if you're nostalgic for those type of games. I think it doesn't do a lot for me. I remember the game. I've played Dragon's Lair and I've played Spacious. I haven't played the second Dragon's Lair. It was never in an arcade near me anyway. If Game delivered over here, I would probably go for that, because I think it's a fantastic piece of arcade history more than anything. Yes, they are fantastic games, but it really stands out as like a leap forward in arcade games for its time. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we've still got Star Wars up there for 700 quid. The new Infinity game table, so should be coming in a few days, next week. But I'm interested in that device, although I think the price point is still too high for me. But certainly I think it would be a great little sort of travel tablet to take away if you were going camping or anything, like that you have that with you. Make sure it's all charged up. Get a couple of games in towards the end of the night. So I'd be interested to see if that comes down in price. I know the other one, the table, never dropped in price, so I'm not going to hold my breath, but it would be a nice one to see if it ever did. Now I did mention that there was a couple of other little bits and pieces as well. So if I go up to the search and we go for New Wave Toys, we can see that the price has also been reduced around these items as well. So Ghouls and Ghosts and Ghosts and Goblins, they came in for pre-order at £126. The others, they were all sitting around 150, 160. Now they all seem to have had their prices reduced, and again I think this is just more of an adjustment than anything else. I don't think it's a sale. It just looks to be them bringing the price down to what it should be at. Obviously, if you're going to have a new item in for 125, having an older one sitting at 160 just doesn't really make sense. So I think that's what we're seeing here. I wouldn't expect to see these things going back up in price. And looking forward to getting my hands on Ghouls and Ghosts and giving that a proper review when it gets here, 16th of the 10th. So what's that, next? No, not next Monday, the Monday following. So hopefully it'll be in here for in time for Halloween, and I can just tell my wife it's a Halloween decoration. She'll maybe buy that. Moving on from New Wave Toys, though, there's been a few bits and pieces that have come out regarding them quite recently. So if we have a quick let me see. Yeah. If we jump over onto New Wave Toys, now they have made their announcements about their cigarette and art dispensers. I guess you would call it an art dispenser. Hello, excuse me. They're up for pre-order at the moment. They are chargers. A couple of people have had to go at them because they're selling things that look like a cigarette machine, and that's maybe glamorizing smoking to some extent. I don't really see it, to be perfectly honest, but people are entitled to their own opinions. I remember machines, not this particular brand, but certainly machines of that sort of nature in the arcades. Of course, smoking was everywhere back then. It wasn't as much of a frowned upon habit as it is now. There's also the new Coke machines, which are now they're available for order. Unfortunately, they will not be coming over to the UK, at least not through New Wave Toys. If you go into them, you can actually see it's down as it will only ship to United States and Canadian addresses. This is just because of a license agreement they have with Coca-Cola, and they've just agreed that they'll be allowed to sell it, but it can only be in North America. Now, that's not to say that you won't find it on some other sites, eBay or certain things like that, but you may be paying through the nose for it. I do love the look of this thing, and the fact that it actually is a fridge as well. It just is fantastic. Although with these new cans, I don't know if you'd be able to fit 2 of them in there. I doubt it. It would have to be the stumpy ones, I guess. On top of that, it's not on their website, but they did reveal a skee ball product at the Cleveland Gaming Classic. That's kind of cool looking, and it actually works. It's a very cool thing to bring out. It's different from what they've done in the past, where they've sort of focused on arcade machines. Sorry, let me just bring this one up. Gunstar's made a brilliant point. We should get an iron brew machine. Dude, if they brought out an iron brew machine, or if they just reskinned that, I would be all over it. Absolutely. That would be just fantastic. I'm all about the iron brew. But yeah, the skee ball is kind of a strange one, and because it's longer than it is tall, it looks cool. I don't know about it. It's one of those ones I'll have to have a little closer look when it comes out to see if I'm interested. Now, one final thing to talk about with New Wave Toys is that they have teased an upcoming announcement for a while now. Now, we do know that they're in collaboration with Glenn Palamento from Glenn's Retro Show. That's not a secret. He is working with them. They've said as much. He's said as much. And where it gets interesting is everybody wants New Wave Toys to make a full size or a 3/4 size arcade machine because of the quality that they've put out in the past regarding the 1/6 scales that they've done, and they are fantastic. The attention to detail is brilliant on them, and the little things that they add to it are just icing on the cake. So I guess the way people are looking at it is if they could transfer that into a larger form factor, then the things that they would produce would be absolutely fantastic. Now, we talked about this a wee while back, I guess. Someone asked in the chat what I thought, what I thought the chances were of New Wave Toys doing something like this, and I kind of shot it down. Now, the way I looked at it was, it's far too expensive. The overheads that someone like New Wave Toys, who is a small company now, I don't even think they have more than 10 employees working for them, which is fantastic. So they are a small company, but the overheads in trying to bring out a new product a lot bigger than what you have done in the past. There's a lot of costs involved into getting that up and running in a timely manner. So I said, no, I don't think it'll happen. The announcement will be, haha, I got you. The announcement will be something else. Since then, there's been a lot of rumors flying around that it is going to be it is going to be either a 3/4 scale or a full size cabinet, and I'm starting to come around to the idea that it might be. The reason being is because people have asked Glenn and have asked New Wave Toys directly, is that what they're doing? And the response has been, we don't want to make an announcement of what we are doing just yet. We're not ready. We'll tell you in due time, and that's perfectly fine. The reason I think there might be credibility to it being a 3/4 or a full size one now is if it wasn't, I think they would have said it, because there's so much hype and anticipation around it being a 3/4 or a full scale arcade, that if they then came out and said that it, if they let these rumors go on and go on, people are going to get so hyped that if they then made the announcement and said, hey, it's this, people would be so disappointed and they would just ignore whatever the new thing is. They would have to stop it in its tracks. Because they're not stopping it, there might actually be credibility to it being a 3/4 scale or a full size cabinet. To me, that's insane. But if they can pull it off, that's huge for the home arcade. If they can apply the same level of detail to a full-size cabinet as they do for their 1/6 scale, imagine the way somebody's home arcade will look after a couple of years of putting these things out. Now, I do expect them to be quite pricey. It's going to be quality stuff, because if they're working with Glenn has the technical know-how to build quality peripherals like the flight stick, the yokes, the control panels. So we're going to have quality stuff in them, and they're going to be arcade accurate. That's amazing. The price tag that they're going to put onto it, I think, is going to be quite high. So, and whether it'll come over to the UK, I just don't know. But it's one to wait and see. Hopefully, we'll find out very soon about that. Moving on from there, I wanted to talk a little bit about the atGames ALP, because I'm quite excited about this. And sorry, I scrolled down a wee bit, but I'll bring it back up to the top. So, spoke about it a little bit a couple of weeks back. So this is the 4K pinball machine that they're going to be bringing out, and this is the first of their collector's edition, if you will. So it's the Addams Family. Now, as people have pointed out, it's not an exact replica on the artwork of the Addams Family. It's more of a Zen original artwork on the side of it, and I like it. I think it's very nice. With the green and purple. The device itself is a beast. We're looking at a 32. No, it's not 32 inches. It's slightly bigger. Oh no, I don't have the specs in front of me. No, it must be a 32-inch screen on there, isn't it? It must be. Yes, it is. It's 32-inch, but we're up to 4K on the resolution. Now, there has been a few videos showing the side-by-side of the same table on the original ALP and on this one, and it does look a lot crisper. The animations and everything like that just seem to flow a lot smoother. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, they have said that the proper price of this will be it's going to be $14.99 once the pre-orders are all done. Not sure if it actually says up there. No. It's $14.99 once the pre-orders are all done, with $100 shipping, but that's obviously for the Americans. When it comes over here, I'm still holding out for it being around $2,000. So it is a lot of money, but when you're talking about any other kind of 4K V-Pin machine, you're looking at around a minimum of $8,000 for one of those machines. Now, obviously, this thing is not as powerful as one of those £8,000 machines, but you can do a lot with it. If you want, you can keep it with the 15 games that are going to be on there, because they are absolutely fantastic. Here are the games that you can see at the moment. So in this collector's edition, you're going to have the Addams Family. You're going to have mostly the deluxe tables that we've seen come out earlier in the year. So, and then I think you've got one of the National History ones there. You've got Spooky Deluxe, which is just a fantastic table. Oh, that's actually another one, another Natural History one there as well. So there's a lot of really cool games, and we're also seeing the Addams Family is unique to this particular collector's edition. So what I think is going to happen is, with every collector's edition, depending on how it's skinned, this game will get replaced with whatever game is associated with it. So we don't know what the other collector's editions are going to be. However, Wagner's Tech Talk had put up a survey asking people to rate what collector's editions they would like to see. Now, I just put out a whole bunch of different Zen titles, you know, like Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, all great ones. And if they did a Jurassic Park one or a Back to the Future one, that would be... I would say I would love to get my hands on that. Honestly, I don't think us in the UK are going to see any of the collector's editions. And I say that because they're only making a select number of the collector's editions. It's... by the time it gets to us, I don't know if there'll be many left. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how many collector's edition types there's going to be, so maybe we will see some, but I wouldn't expect there to be an awful lot of them, and we may just get the standard edition when it does come over here. So yeah, like I say, Wagner had put up a poll or a survey asking people to rank what they would like, and there was an interesting item on there, which was Street Fighter 2. Now, we do know that Zen will be releasing a load of the different tables that they have already made. Marvel, the Williams tables, the Star Wars tables. I'm not aware that they had ever made a Street Fighter pinball table. That will be very interesting to see what that looks like. Unless that was put on by mistake, I don't know if this is something that Zen is working on. What's interesting is that it's Capcom, and Capcom was primarily in some sort of license agreement with Arcade 1-Up. Now they have broken away from that quite recently. In regards to Evercade, we've seen them, put Capcom games onto both the Evercade EXP and the Super Pocket. So it may be that their exclusivity has come to an end with Arcade 1-Up, and they're now able to go out and see if there's any other, people that want to work with them. This may not be a direct agreement with atGames. It may be an agreement with Zen themselves, that they're going to create tables based on their IPs, and Street Fighter is going to be one of them. It does look like most, if not all, of the Zen created tables will be available for the atGames pinball table. which is going to be absolutely fantastic, as I say, and have a number of absolutely cracker tables like kind of the ones we've listed there. I've got a number running through the table beside me on Pinball FX3, so it's going to be that is an excellent question. UK Bear, are you hoping for any Amazon Prime Day arcade 1-up sales? Yes, I am. Maybe not as massive as the one we saw in the last one. During that time, we had the Star Wars table drop to 460 something pounds. At that point, I picked it up. But it went out of stock really quickly as people discovered it and went for it. Will something like that happen again? Possibly not. Although I think the chance of some arcade items being discounted in the next Prime sale, I think it's likely. What I'm going to try and do is get on early, have a look around, and any deals that I find, I'm just going to fire them into the Discord channel, so anyone who's on there can quickly see them and get to them, because they're probably going to be like the Star Wars arcade machine. It's going to be a limited quantity and they may sell out soon, so if anyone's interested in keeping up on that, do please join the Discord channel. I will try and get as many deals as I can find up on there. It's not just me doing it as well. There's a load of guys in there that find deals all over the place for like eBay. I think one of the guys, MC, he frequently jumps around the Amazon EU sites, you know, like France, Germany, trying to find good deals, and there have been a couple that have worked out quite well, even with the price of shipping them over. So yeah, so yes, UK Bear, yes, I do hope that we'll see some deals with the Amazon Prime Day sale, but I don't expect them to be as good as the Star Wars one. I do still think that was a bit of a pricing error, and they didn't catch it in time. It seemed far too low for what we've seen in the past. But yeah, hopefully we'll see some we'll see some good stuff on that. Alright, so the final thing that I wanted to talk about tonight is actually it's more for home DIY projects, and it is the upcoming release of the Raspberry Pi 5. So this is going to be coming out late November. At the moment, there's the two models, so you can either have a 4GB or an 8GB one. So I've got a 4GB one pre-ordered at the moment. They're benchmarking this to say it's about 2 to 3 times faster. Or faster is not the correct way of saying it. The performance that you'll get out of the Raspberry Pi 5 will be 2 to 3 times greater than what you're currently seeing on any of the Raspberry Pi 4 generations. The chipset's different. It's clocking in at 2.4 gig, but I believe it's overclocked. There's a different GPU on there as well. So what I'm hoping is that I can try this out on a couple of my arcade builds behind me. It should mean that things that I'm certainly struggling with to run smoothly could start to run a little better. I'm interested to see how much it's going to to help out things like the arcade racer or the gun games. Now it might take me a little bit to get them running. What usually happens is that the guys from like Batacera or RetroPie would have to put together a compatible image, one that will make use of the new Raspberry Pi architecture on the new board. So it may take them a little bit to get something optimized for there before we're able to get the best out of this new board, but I'm very interested to see what it can do. Now, it's probably going to have to go into either the gun games or into the racer. I'm not going to be able to put it into the bar top, and the reason for that is they removed the 3.5 millimeter audio jack. So that would mean that my current sound setup on that wouldn't work on a Raspberry Pi 5, because the speakers I use are just directly hooked into the Raspberry Pi 4 board. So I would need to think of another audio solution for that. So that's maybe one thing to keep in mind with the new board, that yes, it is an increase in performance. You know, I do have dual visual output for 4K at 60 Hertz on both outputs, whereas before the second output was limited to 30. But it does remove the 3.5 millimeter audio jack. So just one to be aware of. I am looking forward to getting my hands on it and start playing around. The board is slightly differently configured, so any of the cases that you have for your older ones won't work. They won't fit just because of the way they've moved bits and pieces around on it. It does have a header now for a fan, so it should make adding a bit of cooling a lot easier. I'm probably going to add something like that because I've heard that the 5 can be a bit of a power hog when you compare it to the older generations. But I do like the look of it. I think it's going to, it should help things out and possibly get a few additional emulator cores running, because I think, oh man, if I could get System 32, a System 32 emulator running, that would just be absolutely fantastic. I think that'll be the first thing I try to get running on this. When I get it, I'll hook it up and see what the emulator core is doing on this one. So yes, that's looking to be coming out in end of November. So you can pre-order now. This is from the Pi Hut, which is the storefront I've used for all of my Raspberry Pi builds. They're really good. So you can get it as a 4 gig model for £59.30, or for 79 quid you can get the 8 gig. Depending on what you're using it for. For retro gaming, 4 gigs probably plenty. I don't think I've stressed it that much that I needed an 8 gig. I think I do have an 8 gig one around here, and it's never used that amount of memory before, so it's there as an option. It all depends on what you want to do with it. These things aren't just these things are they can be used for any number of projects. What I'm using them for is just to run, a retro arcade build. So yes, very happy to see them coming out and keep making advancements on it. Like I say, we'll probably have to wait until RetroPie and Batacera put out new versions or compatible builds, but that shouldn't take too long. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave things tonight. I think that's everything that I wanted to cover. There's a load of things happening at the moment. I'll certainly keep my ear to the ground when it comes to Amazon Prime Day sales, when it comes to the ALP 4K coming over to the UK. If I see anything or hear anything about that, I will certainly make some noise. I'll be watching New Wave Toys quite closely because I'd be very interested to see what this announcement actually is. Although we'll see fairly soon, I'm sure. And if I can get my hands on the Ghouls and Ghosts cabinet in a couple of weeks, I'll go through that and do a nice wee review on that, because I'm very excited to get my hands on that. That will be my first New Wave Toys cabinet. I've got a few other products, but I've never had one of the Replicades, so this will be really fun to have a look at. Anyway guys, thank you very much for joining me tonight. Absolute pleasure as always, and I will see you again very soon. Bye bye for now.